Hello, everyone. My name is Anna, and during today's presentation, we'll be discussing the role of a technical assistance provider. So your first question may be, why should I engage a technical assistance provider? Now, there's two different types of providers. One is early stage pre-development support, which will be the focus of today's presentation. And essentially, you'll be bringing on a third party to discuss what your project should look like, what its size will be, how much it will cost, and what its variable environmental and resilience benefits are. And essentially, you can use this information as a toolkit to inform your next decisions moving forward and even leverage this information to get financial support. The second stage of pre-development or project development support is actually when you're installing the system or engaging an installer to install the system. And again, you're bringing on a third party to consult on the project. So how are technical assistance providers unique from installers? Well, first, let's define what a technical assistance provider is. And again, as I had said on the previous slide, we'll be focusing on early stage pre-development support. So clients that work with a technical assistance provider can expect to gain an understanding of how renewable and reliable energy technologies will support their facility and the costs and benefits associated with those technologies. A developer or installer, on the other hand, works more on the project management side of things and actually when the system gets installed. Now, a technical assistance provider can provide support during the project development process, and a developer or installer may also provide earlier support in the pre-development process. So both roles can overlap, but their primary roles are different. So again, how are technical assistance providers unique from installers? Technical assistance providers can provide a non-vested analysis of the system's financial feasibility, environmental impact, and resilient power potential. On the other hand, developers or installers can be motivated to engage more clients and install more projects. TA providers can also provide vendor agnostic reports if you request it, which means that they will not be focusing on one specific battery or solar manufacturer or producer, but will be taking a broad average of what it would cost given market averages across the field. Developers or installers may already have an existing relationship with a specific manufacturer, and that may bias how they come up with their price estimates. And lastly, if you, in your agreement with your TA provider, decide to receive a final paper report, TA providers are more likely to give ownership of that document to you all to do with what you want and inform next steps. But on the other hand, some installers will offer free consultations or initial analysis, but that report will be obligated to your relationship with that installer. They don't want you using that report with other people. It's only, they will restrict your use of that document. Now, what is commonly included in pre-development support? And I put this into three different buckets. The first one is the analysis of the system. The technical assistance provider will generally ask for your utility bills for the last 12 months. They will also look at what electrical loads are the focus of your buildings, what kind of things require electricity, and optionally, they may host a site visit. The second bucket is the information that you will receive from the technical assistance provider. Firstly, they will size the system and tell you what size in kilowatt and kilowatt hours of solar and battery storage you will need for your facility. Secondly, they will include an economic analysis telling you how much the system will cost, both upfront as well as what the operations and maintenance of the system will look like over the lifetime of the system. And lastly, they will include any incentives that the system could be eligible for through utility programs or the federal investment tax credit. They will also include how much resilience you can expect from the system or the hours of backup power that you can expect to receive after a power outage. And lastly, they will look at sustainability benefits. So by installing solar or battery storage, you can expect this much carbon to be offset by the system, for example. And lastly, the report will include barriers to development, such as any structural issues that may come up when you're installing the system, like outdated electrical equipment or a roof that's not sufficient to be able to support solar. So now we're going to be discussing some considerations for a few of these bullet points. So for example, when you're looking at the electrical load and analyzing that, you can either look at what electrical loads you have throughout the building and have the solar and battery storage system back up the entire building, or you can look at what electrical loads you deem critical or are a high priority to have backup power for. So for example, a refrigerator is often a critical load because you want to make sure that your food doesn't spoil or that medications can stay refrigerated. On the other hand, a dishwasher, while definitely ideal to have power for, is not a critical load or a necessity during a power outage. When you're sizing your system, it can be important to receive a solar-only scenario in addition to solar and battery storage, so you can really weigh the costs and benefits of adding a battery storage system to your building. When looking at the financial analysis, it can be important to have an analysis both for facility owned, which means that you're either receiving a grant to pay for the system or a loan, or you have the cash outright to buy the system, or third party owned, which is through a lease or a power purchase agreement. The financial analysis looks a little bit different for both of these, so including both of those in your pre-development support can be helpful to look at. So with all of this information, ideally after working with a technical assistance provider, you have a toolkit that you can use to help inform your next steps for project development. And you can leverage this information to seek funding or financing and when searching for a developer for this system to actually get it installed. Your technical assistance provider can also be asked to continue to support you through project development and serve as an expert client advocate as the project moves forward. This can also be referred to as a customer's representative. So now, if you're interested in working with a TA provider, how can you choose one? Well, a couple things to keep in mind is to make sure that you have good communication with the TA provider as you're talking about what the system will be like, what your process for technical assistance will look like, and make sure that they are transparent with their process throughout. You can also ask for examples of past TA support that they have provided. For example, some folks have produced PDF reports for other projects, and they can share a version of that with you all for your review. And lastly, you may want to consider if the technical assistance provider or TA provider is local or is a minority or women-owned business. I work with Clean Energy Group's Technical Assistance Fund. We are a nonprofit that provides pre-development support for community-led projects that are community serving, that are interested in exploring what solar and battery storage can look like. If you're interested in learning more, you can come to our website and contact me. Thank you all for listening to today's presentation.